We can have your attention, please. You can take out your cell phone, handheld personal devices. They have to be powered off. They can't be on silent, vibrate, or any other mode other than powered off. We ask that if you are speaking this evening, please speak into the microphone. If you're presenting any type of displays or exhibits, please put it on the table here facing you. That way we can pick it up for our records. We also ask, I'm sorry, facing us. You want to say facing us. If you are speaking to one another for purposes of either discussion or dialogue, please take it in the hallway. It interferes with our opportunity to hear those that are speaking this evening. We're going to start this evening's meeting with a motion to open. Can I get a motion to open, please?
I make a motion that we open this meeting of the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation on July 10th, 2017.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome to the July 10th, 2017 meeting of the Architectural Board of Review and Historic Preservation. My name is Curtis Highsmith, and I am your chair. I'd like to introduce our panel for this evening. We'll start from my right is Jeff Broadley, Susan Stevenson, Christina Redding, as well as Brian Brady. We'd like to welcome our historic consultant, Zach Studenroth, our legal counsel, Bo Robinson, and Antoinette. We always welcome you, as well as Charlie. We're going to start this evening's meeting with signs, and first application sign, please.
First application is Lanzetta and Associates.
The applicant present. It's a contract, it's a real estate sign. Name of the company seems to be a logo. It says for sale and a telephone number. Board members, do you have any issues with the design, style?
No.
Christine?
No.
No, fine.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve the real estate sign for Lanzetta and Associates.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Next application is for Kitty Clay, LLC. There are 3 applications here.
Hi there, Kitty Clay.
We'll start first with the one that's first on the file here. That is the yard sign. It's a freestanding yard sign.
Yep. I was actually wanting to see if I could swap the post to face out in the other direction, or that way. Doesn't matter. I just.
We're approving this sign, not necessarily the placement.
Okay,
So
fine.
if you're going to place it diagonal or whatever position you want, this is something that will be approved and be able to be used currently in the village of Southampton as it's designed, if it's approved this evening.
Okay, very good.
What's being proposed here is just your logo has your name and the font that I'm sure is a trademark. I'm assuming?
Yeah, the signature is. That's correct.
Can you put the sign on?
Do you have a copy of the sign, President?
Yep.
It'd be easier to put something like this so you can get a more clear look
Got that
at
as
the
well?
design. Yes.
Just face it.
Oh,
There's
sorry.
direction for someone.
Yes,
All right.
that's
Oh,
right.
I see. Right.
There you go.
You have an exploration of you in your home. You have artist-made furniture, antiques, art, jewelry. It's a billboard.
It's a bit small probably for this location, but it's actually what you all approved for my last location, which is was just behind this building in the back there. For 4 years, I had another shop space behind there, and it was already approved.
This design?
Yeah, that design was, yeah.
I'm just going to ask the board members, do you have any issue with this?
No, I remember that it was because she was off the beaten path.
She's
and it was
sort of off now, too.
And now, yeah.
She's
I
even
think it's
farther
great.
off the beat.
I am.
No issues.
I don't have an issue with it.
Any public comment on the freestanding sign? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the freestanding sign for Kitty Clay at 116 North Sea Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then we have an awning.
Okay, yeah, sorry, that picture is terrible, but I also have a photo of what it looked like on the other space. I just wanted to reuse
He's
it.
going to want that flipped around. To us, is that fine?
Yeah,
To us?
it's supposed to be
All
to
right,
us.
good.
Facing that way, yes.
Do you have a copy or a swatch or a sample of the actual awning itself?
I don't, actually. I sort of forgot
Is
I
it the-
needed that.
It will be gray and white.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
great.
some simple colors, gray and white. Will there be any writing, any decals, no telephone number, not a design or logo?
No,
Is it retractable or?
it is retractable, yes.
Board members, gray and white awning.
Beautiful.
Lovely. Thank goodness something's going in there.
Yeah. Oh, fine, yeah.
Any-
Yep, the whole thing, yep, so.
Any public comment on the awning? Motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve the awning for Kitty Clay at 116 North Sea Road.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And okay, so this is the custom sign, it's just going over the front facade, correct?
Yeah, it's
Kind of hard to see, but...
It is hard to see, and the one, they're basically, I'm reusing the signs that were also on this building, on the front and the back. It's made out of metal, and like a sort of stainless steel-looking type metal, and it's my signature.
Okay.
It is a little indiscreet, but it's, already my clients recognize it, so I'm just going to reuse it if you all approve it.
Okay, you say it's a little discreet.
Well, I mean, as in, because it's...
Okay, it's fine, no,
yeah.
it's fine, it's fine. It's not, nothing backlit, there's no lanterns or lighting
Well, there is lighting on the building.
currently
which-
pre-existing.
Yeah, pre-existing,
But
which,
there are two locations you're putting it, on the front of the building and the side. On
correct.
that side gable, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
On the side gable, there's no lighting there. Will you be adding any?
No, there's actually lighting as well.
There
There's
is?
lighting on the floor, on the ground,
On the
around
ground,
here
so
somewhere, shining up,
projecting
and
it.
there's lighting there. Yeah,
And it's pre-existing?
it is pre-existing, yeah.
Board members, any comments, questions?
Nope, nope, nope.
Any public comment on the signs? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the storefront sign for Kitty Clay at 116 North Sea Road.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Next application, please.
Next application is the Southampton Spa.
Is the applicant present? Hi, your name for the record, please.
Brigitte Brooks.
I'm sorry?
Brigitte Brooks. Brigitte.
You are proposing two signs, one on the, looks like it's just the stairway on the covering.
Yes, there's two entries into the building,
Okay.
so we actually have at least two spaces, but the signs would primarily hang in front of the first entry and window within the courtyard.
Okay.
And then there's another facing out to the parking lot where the Plaza Cafe is.
White background, black lettering.
Yes.
Any lighting or
No.
no goose down lighting or projection going to
No bells or whistles.
the, very simple? Simple font, simple coloring. Any issues?
No? Fine with it.
Fine, fine.
Any comment on the storefront signs? Motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion to approve.
Are we approving both of them at the same time?
They're just one application.
Oh, okay, you said so. Okay, I make a motion that we approve the storefront signs for the Southampton Spa
Second.
on Hill Street.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then there's an awning. Should be another application there for an awning?
It's not on mine. No, I don't think so, no.
No? Okay.
I don't think we have an awning.
Together.
That's the next application.
Agenda.
There you go, you're fine.
Thank you.
Good, good.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And our final two applications for this evening.
Laviano Design Studio.
All right. Application for a window sign and also an application for an awning.
Haley Laviano.
We'll first discuss the window sign. So there'll be a decal on the window with your name,
Yes.
and it's positioned here? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have any issues, very
Yeah,
discreet.
exactly.
Board members, do you have any questions, issues, or comments about the sign?
Very well done.
Position and
Okay,
location.
fine, yep.
Motion to approve the sign.
I make a, is this the awning or the window?
This is the window sign.
I make a motion that we approve the window sign for Laviano Design Studio on Joe's Lane.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And the awning. So there'll be just two awnings over both windows.
Yes.
It'll have the name of your company in the front. The awnings are white, and you have
They're
black background.
actually,
You have a sample of the
yeah.
awning. Let's open that out so we can have it as part of the record.
I don't
It's fine.
have,
You're fine. So that's the fabric and color of the awning you're
Yes.
proposing, and there's black lettering in your font that you propose as
Yes.
part of your logo.
yes.
Board members, any questions?
No.
Any public comment on the awning? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the awning for Laviano Design Studio on Joe Clay.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That concludes our sign permits for this evening. We'll go into our historic application. I know there are quite a few people here for the application for 24 Gin and 28 Gin because of the nature of the application and the volume of time. We're going to just place that and make an adjustment and place that at the end of this evening's meeting so that we can have enough time.
Entire end of the meeting?
Council, the entire end of the meeting, correct? The entire end of the meeting. So first application, historic, there's a request for the, request in the file for the application to be adjourned. Is there a time? Is that still?
It's open-ended. It says we'll be in contact at a later date to reschedule.
It's kind of open-ended, Council. Should we get something a little bit more firm? The longer we go, then we have worries, concerns about reposting, remailing, and...
Yeah, I would think so. I know they've had to change counsel, so Anton, if you could issue out a letter and just say that the board is requesting a specific adjournment date. It's been adjourned tonight as a matter of courtesy, but in order to formally adjourn it, we need a specific date to the adjournment.
It was already called as adjourned, it really wasn't called open, so we can move on the application. Next historic application.
Before you move on, if you may, and I apologize, it's ultimately your schedule, and I respect that, but Mr. Hollander has a very pressing matter that he must attend, a private matter. It's important that he be here. We certainly understood that looked at the calendar and understood that we would be on in the order. I have been appearing before this board 25, almost 30 years, never seen this done before.
Well, we're trying to get it right, John. Maybe we will someday.
I understand. But I would again ask you respectfully, with all respect, because of one of the team's personal obligations, that if you just take us
At the end of the historic calendar?
Whatever you can do,
whatever you can do.
It shouldn't be that long.
Okay, thank you. The end of the historic. Thank you. I appreciate the concession. Thank you.
Next application would be 80 Post, please call.
Green and Moldery, 80 Post Crossing.
Is the applicant present?
There's something.
See my report? I put 2 copies.
If they're in there.
They're in it.
I think that's
I like what you said about my street.
it's pretty amazing. I thought it was really right on.
Last meeting, we asked our council to do a report, our historic consultant to do a report. At this point, we're just going to ask for a presentation of our historic consultant, and then we'll move further, and I'm sure you received a copy of that?
I actually did not.
You did not?
No.
No, my protocol is to provide it for the board, and
Have there been any modifications to your application?
None whatsoever.
Zach?
okay. And my apologies to the applicant. This was only put in the record today, so you did not have an opportunity to see it. Okay, I don't want to read this. This is 2 pages. Summarize. Okay, the residence is historically known as the Gardner House. It was part of the building structure inventory done in 1979, number PC10, Post Crossing. This is a house that was evidently built about 1912, and it's documented on the maps by 1916. The building structure inventory form also points out approximate history of the street itself, which was laid out about 1890. That's significant here because it seems that the building lots that were newly created then in 1890 when this new street was pushed through were very quickly acquired and developed. And so there's an unusual situation in which there's a lovely assortment of houses representing different architectural styles, but they're all within a fairly compact period of time, from about 1890 to 1920. And as far as we can see, with few exceptions, they are still standing. So there's a very high level of architectural and historical integrity on that street, which bears upon this particular application. The house is four-square in style or type, but it has colonial revival features which are quite distinctive. Okay, that gets us to the recommendations. My view of this is that basically the house doesn't need improving. The house is in a state of remarkable preservation, similar to many others on the street. And they're all different, which is a characteristic of that neighborhood. Some have porches, some don't. Some have stoops, some don't. And all of those features are really an expression of the specific styles and aspirations or needs of the particular individuals when those buildings were built. And so while others have full porches, they tend to be the earlier houses, the houses of the late Victorian period from the 1890s up to about 1900. As we can see, if we move up the street to the other end, to that wonderful colonial revival house at the Main Street end, there is no porch, there's no stoop, there's no this colonial revival house. And so there's a clear evolution in styles and the use of porches and stoops and sunrooms, et cetera, that evolves over time. And this particular house is simply a good example within that time spectrum of what it is. So just from a stylistic standpoint, to add a porch is not consistent with the architectural design of the house, of the building. The second issue, which I think is equally important, is that this board is seeking to preserve houses, not to enhance them. And in that preservation, we're looking to retain architectural features, not partially remove them, rework them so that they look different. The house survives as built, and that's arguably its highest and best appearance to the street. So I think you have to look at what is visible from the public way, which is obviously the street. The original facade is there. I included here, which is in the report, the footprint of the house as it appears in the Sanborn map of 1926. It's very clear that the way it appears today is essentially the way it was built, how that front facade was handled. So my recommendation, both from the standpoint of not intervening in the architectural fabric, which is original, as well as to change the apparent style of the building as it was originally conceived, is that the improvement of the front of the facade is not appropriate. That's my recommendation.
Can I ask a question, though? I mean,
of course.
There's also a proposed rear porch, too.
Yeah, I'm only addressing the front.
You're only addressing, okay.
Well, the application is for the reconstruction and expansion of the front porch.
Okay.
And if you read the code,
I'm sorry?
You're saying that there's additional work being proposed?
There is a rear
Yeah.
porch.
to the side, I think you're...
No, to the rear.
And I know there's a porch to the rear. The way it reads at the front, and I felt, if you look at the code, the focus really of this board is what can be seen and enjoyed from a public way. In some cases, that public way can be the ocean. It can be a lake. In this case, it's the street. So that's really the focus of my report.
Just an FYI, his building application does mention in the area of new building or new construction, front proportions based on front porch and rear porch.
Okay.
So as stated in his building application.
Can I ask a question, Zach? Okay, so the front porch is original to the house.
That's
Existing.
I believe the stairs have actually been extended.
Yeah, they've been changed because they're a different material. But the side porch on the east, is that on the Sanborn map?
Yes.
It is.
Here's the footprint. As is the little bump out of window sashes that projects out across.
The bay window. So that's...
And the back porches as well. Now, we don't have a photograph of that that can, houses get modified over the years, and this is a house that's been standing for over 100 years. So there's a possibility that there were architectural changes made to some of those features prior to when it was photographed and documented in 1979 when the survey was done.
Yeah, there was a rear addition that was
Is that a copy
done.
you give to the applicants?
Absolutely.
So that they can have it as part of the reference. And,
Yeah. So I only address the front because that's what's within the public way. Whatever additions you're proposing to the back would be of less concern, I would think, to this board in terms of how the code is.
Because it's virtually undetectable from the street, basically. Okay.
But I mean, it's difficult to split out a portion of an application in mid.
Well, if the remaining portions of the house are in the same language and design as the front, I would imagine that all of it would be up for preservation. I don't particularly like the term that we don't care about what happens in the rear.
No, I'm not saying, it's not about not caring, but certainly the code provides for very specific oversight and specifically talks about that which can be seen from a public way. And oftentimes, improvements that are proposed for side walls and especially back walls, which cannot be seen, are looked at differently. I'm not saying it's simply okay to approve them, but oftentimes there's a different approach to those.
I would like to add that there has been an addition done to the rear of the house and then a porch added onto that. And not well done in terms of detailing and materials.
Just as part of the process, we normally typically ask our historic consultant to do a report on homes that are within the historic district and contributing structures within the historic district. He comes back with a recommendation. Now, he's not a voting body of this board. He's a hired consultant, and we look at his professionalism, his skill, and his talent, and we take it under weight as a board and make our review. Overall, been consistent in looking at Zach's expertise as being a little bit of our driving force in terms of how we start saving a lot of the historic homes within the village of Southampton. So there's a lot of information that was given today with regards to, well, not a lot, but very specific information that was given today with regards to the front facade being an original, something that would not be highly considered, capable of or even accepted to change or modify or in any form. That may change your application for this evening. Do you feel you need time to assess that and then come back before this board again in the future?
Very quickly. I mean, we'd like to get a little bit more feedback from the board, possibly, on how you guys feel. I mean, I can pass that. I mean, just from a standpoint from the...
Any information, you just have to hand it in.
I mean, these are just, I want to make it clear, this house, the front facade is almost invisible from the road. I don't know if that matters to you guys or not, because certainly they could take the hedge out, I'm sure, at some point. But...
Well, I'm going to go person by person to see how they have any questions or issues, comments to our historic consultant as well as the applicant. Susan, you have a question, comment?
Well, I actually, when I went to look at the front facade, wanted Zach to take a look at it because I had a feeling it was historical and it looked pretty intact. Admittedly, you cannot see it because of the hedge, but I don't think that makes any difference. It's still a building that's historical in nature and well preserved and therefore should be preserved. Because the hedges, trees, landscaping comes and goes. And also it would be a shame to change what is a well-preserved and intact front facade on a historic street. That's a beautiful street that you live on.
It is a beautiful street.
And your house is beautiful.
We tried to minimize the impact of the porch. We took the existing porch on the east side, the same roof pitch and same details, and wrapped it around. Connected it to the front porch and pulled that out further so we could, so it could be clearly defined as the front entrance, and we planned to rebuild the steps within that overhang. So the material's fir, which is kind of a traditional material used, not one that's good in weather, and it gets painted. So if the steps are not covered, like they are in the house today, they look very different and they wear differently, and they need to be replaced often. So that was one kind of improvement we felt we had made.
Christine, you have any comments?
I'm sorry, I'm having an allergy attack.
Oh, no.
I think it's this. Post Crossing is one of our major streets, and the aspect of all those houses from the street is really important, the porches particularly. So I'm listening carefully to what our historic consultant is saying, and I'm not feeling that these changes that you're going to make are really appropriate to the changes of the house.
Jeff?
I support Zach's analysis and research and recommendations, so therefore I would not approve changes.
Your neighborhood?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I live on the street.
So it's unanimous, the board feels, we feel that Zach's report was appropriate. Unfortunately, the application is being proposed right now is inappropriate. You can take the information, the report that's been given to you, speak with your architect or whoever your design team is, and see if there's something a little more in keeping. I'm sure there's some repairs you want to make.
It seems very clear that you can't do anything to the front facade. Is that correct? That's correct.
Well, are there any repairs that are required or need to be made within the front porch? That's the reason why you're looking to make some changes, or it's just you want to change the design overall? No.
Well, the homeowner wanted a wrap-around porch. And yeah, the steps at the front entry will need to be repaired, but I don't think that will, require your input.
Any public comment on the application? Okay. As the applicant, you have the discretion now, and we have a report. The board doesn't feel it's appropriate to make the modifications. You have the option of either requesting to withdraw the application if you feel that there are no changes going to be made. Adjourn to think about things for a while.
Yeah, please.
Okay. So we'll accept your adjournment. Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant's request to adjourn to our next meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck with everything. Next application, please.
Next application is Yanis Zumas, 10 Captain's Neck Lane.
Brian DeSessa, attorney for the applicant, is wrapping up at a public hearing in Sag Harbor. I expect him here shortly, so I would like to request it would be second call to this application. Okay. If that's okay?
Fine.
Thank you.
The next application is closed for written decision by council.
And the file is a decision approving the application based upon the consensus of the board as submitted. An affirmative vote on the motion will be to approve the application.
Motion to approve written decision by council for 24 North Main Street.
I make a motion that we approve the written decision by our council for 24 North Main Street.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next application is also closed for written decision by council.
There's a memo in the file from the building
Yes.
department drawing issue with some matter on the revised plan.
Okay. In order for us to hear any further information, because it has been motioned to close for written decision, we would have to motion to reopen the application. Are you prepared, or is the same attorney?
We are, but I'm going to have to make the same request that we second call it when Mr. DeSessa gets here.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next application, please.
Next application is Charles Stevenson, 309 South Main Street.
Mr. Chairman, I have to recuse myself, so I'll just go in the hallway.
Okay.
Evening.
Good evening.
Oh, sorry.
Tony Panza for representation for Charles Stevenson.
Okay.
A few sets if anyone would like.
Over there. That's great. Thank you very much.
Received copy of the posting and mailing this evening. And these are new sets. The sets that you're showing us now are a three-dimensional design color renderings matching exactly what's been in file. There have been no modifications or changed since the file was first presented to the building department.
Correct, no modifications, no changes. The application is for, okay to start? Is for two items on this house at 309 South Main Street. One is a conversion of what was a single-car garage with a porch to a two-car garage, and the second is an addition of 249 square feet, which is for a breakfast room. And if I can show from the visuals here, the first two pages that you have, the first page is the proposed, and it shows the garage on the end. What previously was there was a single-car garage, and it's a very wide door, not keeping with what would have been in the area. So not taking any additional square footage, but a conversion of a porch that had second floor above it. So there's no additional square footage for that change. And then the other change is adding, if you look on the right-hand side of the first image there, adding at the west side of the structure a room which would be very much in keeping with the current room that's on the eastern side of the structure, which is basically an addition of a lunchroom or a dining room. Yeah.
So you're removing the half of the front porch, turning the...
This is the rear of the house? It's
yes.
not the front, yes. Yeah.
And you're turning the one-bay garage into a two-bay garage.
Yes, taking the extra wide large garage door, which is there now, converting that into two, reducing the scale on those. There's no change in the materials. They would be using the same cedar shingle siding to weather, the same white trim, same windows.
What is the age of the home?
I don't have the exact date, but it was on the...
Sandbar man.
No, it was on the list for, I think the correct term is it's not contributing, it was on the list to become a contributing home. If I have that, that's what I was told was theirs.
Yeah, no.
No.
We don't have such lists, we should. We should create one, but unfortunately. Yeah.
It's gone through a lot in its lifetime.
Okay.
But this is all in the rear of the house, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, the last image there is an aerial view, and you can see the red, which shows where the addition would be, and also the dashed red lines, which shows the garage change.
I didn't get a straight answer. Zach, is this contributing or non-contributing?
I believe it is, but I would say by the nature of these proposed changes being at the rear of the house, which are clearly out of view, and they're really quite modest. And they're very much in keeping. I would even say that that back porch may have actually done what you're planning to do with it now. These things go back and forth. So, without doing a very intensive sort of investigation of the fabric of the house, I think the aesthetics of it are perfectly compatible without going into any great amount of research.
Okay.
And they're at the back, and so they're very hidden from view.
I was going to say the same. The amount of work and additions that you're doing are very modest at the rear of the house, not seen, not a really huge impact. You're keeping the entire style and windows, including the casings, the shutters. I think it's going to actually be a lot more, less country style and more of, I think, the traditional Hamptons home. Brian, comments?
I agree. I think it's very well done.
Thank you.
Christine?
Good job.
Okay.
Same thing, modest, consistent, tasteful.
Any public comment on the application? You have the consensus of this board to move further. What has to happen now is that we have to close the application for written decision because it is in a historic district. So we will ask our council to prepare that at our next meeting. Any questions?
So nothing for me to do for the next meeting, just show up and...
You don't even have to do that.
Thank you very much.
All right, be well. Good luck. Motion to close for written decision by council.
I make a motion that we close the application of Charles Stevenson at 309 South Main Street for written decision by our council.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Next application is 472 First Neck Lane. There's a letter in the file requesting an adjournment till the next meeting.
Okay. Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn until our next meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant at 472 First Neck Lane request to adjourn to our next meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Next application is 72 Main Street Associates.
Architect, representing 72 Main Street Associates LLC, on some changes to 72 Main Street, which is the old Morris Studio next to the Chamber of Commerce in town. So I'll just go through the elevations quickly and review what we're doing. Sure. I could.
No, this is something called.
Yeah, that's equal.
So the first elevation is there are three elevations that are in public view. The first is the front, and then there's the north elevation, which is partly screened by the Chamber of Commerce itself, but you can still see at the angles from the street and from the back, which is the right-of-way in front of Fellingham's. And the front elevation. So the front elevation, we're proposing no changes. We're just, it was refurbished a few years ago, so it's in fairly decent condition. The shingles have to be rechanged. The pattern is staying the same. Any rotten wood on the cornice is being changed and painted in kind. So, and the entrances are staying, and nothing's changing about the street elevation. On the north elevation, I'm sorry, I'll go to the north elevation next. No changes to the front. On the second floor, these windows exist and are being replaced in kind. We're adding one window here in the front part. The existing stained glass window, which is half under the eave and half over the eave, we're actually shifting over so it aligns. And we're adding some new windows on the first floor to get more light into the retail space, in line with the windows upstairs. The rear section of the building is the stucco section that you see now, and we're just increasing the size. We're adding, for the retail space, he'd like to put in picture unit, storefront.
Off the parking lot, yeah.
Yeah. So the two windows we'd be adding would be on the rear elevation and on that north elevation, facing the courtyard in the back of the Chamber of Commerce. We'd be putting a railing around upstairs. We'd be eliminating, on the second floor, it's asphalt shingle vertically in the back, and on the side is a slight mansard. We'd be making it vertical and adding wood shingles. So cleaning it up basically and putting the windows. And putting a railing around for the roof deck, which is for the apartment upstairs. So existing two retail spaces on the first floor, existing two-bedroom apartment upstairs. So we would just be cleaning up the inside.
Nice.
And on the back elevation, the metal door would be changed to a door that's the same as in front of the building. This is the entrance to the apartment. I'm sorry, this is the entrance to the retail space. This is the entrance to the storage space into the apartment. And this is the other new window. We'd be adding awnings.
Great.
Yeah. That's it. We'll welcome your comments.
I don't think we have to worry about the contributing portion of it.
No.
I think the work that's being done is definitely an improvement. You're taking elements, and I think you're bringing more traditional than it's ever been.
In a long time.
Ever. And I appreciate the continued use of the second story, even though it's not within our purview, but just as a matter of reference for this village, apartments upstairs. So I really appreciate that. Brian, any comments?
No, I think it's very well done.
Christine?
No, I'm so glad to see this lovely building rehabilitated.
I feel the same way. I
Same
do
here.
love more studios.
Any public comment on the application? Still in the historic, even though it's minor. It's very well received. It is an historic district. It still requires written decision, so we will have it prepared at our next meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Motion to close for written decision by council.
I make a motion that we close 72 Main Street Associates for written decision by our council.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Are any of the recall applications, are applicants ready? Parties ready?
Not yet.
Not yet.
That's all right.
Okay. As promised, we will hear now the call 24 and 28.
Okay.
Brian, you can call.
Okay, next application is SH24 LLC and SH28 LLC.
Good evening. For the application, John Bennett and Reed, 212 Windmill Lane, Southampton. The project architect, Timothy Haynes, would be here. His mother passed away, so obviously can't be here this evening. So Natasha Jarek and Richard Hayes from Tim's office are here. And as, of course, Ed Hollander, who you see out in the audience, always a pleasure to work with Ed, and Bailey Larkin, my associate. So at the last meeting, we considered comments received from this board and have significantly redesigned the house and the guest house. So both the proposed, we're hearing 24 and 28 together?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, and we've, so this is the third iteration of the house. Since the filing in November, there's a substantial, I don't think anybody could argue, but what you see before you is a substantial stylistic change. I want to go over some of the elements, and then of course I'll have the architects do their job and present the architecture, but some of the stuff that I think is important to highlight. One considerable concession that we've made in response to comments of some of the neighboring property owners and in response to Mr. Studenroth's comments as a reconfiguration of the improvements on the property. This property is somewhat challenging, although it's over almost 3 acres, almost 4 acres, it's 3.7 acres. There's a narrowness to it, but it is, of course, an improved lot on a lot that was subdivided not terribly long ago from this front lot when it was owned by the prior owner. I believe at the prior meetings, the Mangers suggested the pool be relocated to the ocean side of the residence, so we have done that, which is a substantial concession, and I think it's pretty obvious to see why. We've relocated the pool so that this house now sits back 80 feet further from the Dunecrest setback line than it was originally proposed. It was originally at 102.7 feet, the house, the deck, which is part of the house, from the Dunecrest setback. Now it's 185.7 feet. That's borne out on the Squires and Holden survey, which has been revised and submitted. That is a massive concession on an oceanfront house. I will tell you that I have represented people for over 30 years on the ocean who twist themselves into pretzels to try to get 2 feet closer to the ocean. It's particularly important on this, it's a particularly substantial concession on this house because the dune is quite high, number one, and number two, both the Manger house and the former Woldorn Manor house are well in front of the house. These houses having been built, Woldorn is pretty much sits, some of the improvements almost interface with the rock revetment there. And of course the Manger house sits well in front of this house as well. All built prior to modern Dunecrest setbacks, but nevertheless there. So we've really reduced this to just a straight out view, no peripheral views, and that's a massive concession. Again, clients of mine go to great lengths to get even a foot or two closer to the ocean, and because of this dune in front of the house, there is a second floor view of the ocean, not a first floor view of the ocean. And even where we had the house, there would be times in the day where you didn't get a view even from the second floor of the breaking surf. So this is a very substantial concession, and it's made, quite candidly, it's made in the hope to move this project along. In addition, the board had discussed the approach to the home, Mr. Hayes' office has maintained while they've maintained a central courtyard, they've redesigned the residence to create a main entrance that is visible from the proposed driveway. There's some comment about that, particularly Mr. Studenroth had some comments about that from a stylistic point of view. So we took into consideration the feedback received from Mr. Studenroth on that. We also took into consideration, and of course, Natasha and Richard will go into this in further detail, there were some concerns about what was seen as the overly symmetrical approach of the house, and a request that we go, these genres are hard to, people use them loosely, but we tried to go towards what one would think maybe a shingle style or arts and crafts style house. So to integrate and introduce quite a bit more asymmetry to the house. The main portion of the house was redesigned as if it was original portion of the estate, with varied roof heights incorporated into the western wing, which is what you're looking at right here, to give the impression of later additions. Sometimes these houses have grown organically. Some of the old cottages in the Southampton, and of course, when it was interesting, somebody made a comment about a cottage. And at one of the last hearings, that doesn't sound like a cottage to me. That person obviously is not at all familiar with the meaning of the word cottage in the village of Southampton. But we have tried to get towards that cottage, a little bit more of that cottage style, where you have additions over the years that seem to have grown. And that's the attempt that we're trying to get to. The materials were also varied, eliminating the use of the previously proposed metal frame bay windows. So now we're incorporating wood frame windows and some timber stucco, and also in terms of some great take-up on some of the East End vernacular. You'll see that later, some of that wonderful stucco embedded with seashell. Everyone knows what I think is not only my position, but the board's stated position in its own decisions about the board's ability to reduce the house of the size. Nevertheless, again, in an attempt to move this application along, we have reduced the size of the house. The house now comes in at 15,242 square feet, which is almost 3,000 square feet less than allowed. This all on a 3.7 acre lot, where, for example, one of the objecting neighbors has around 9,000 on 1 acre. So we were criticized in the past about talking about proportionality. We think that's a very, very, very important thing to look at. And indeed, that's the way the village code is written. Talk about proportionality. So there's nothing wrong with talking about proportionality. We also modified the guest house at 24 to be more compatible with the redesigned main house. So we've taken a really hard look. I did drive up to Amityville and meet with Mr. Handler, who's one of the Mangers Council, and we did present some plans in contemplation of some of the things that in response to some of the things that the Mangers and the Michaelcheks had talked about. It was agreed that there would be no conversations about what the settlement negotiations were, so that everyone would have a free flow of ideas. And so, but we have tried to divine as well as we could.
Can council go to a microphone?
You guys can't, I'm sorry, you can't hear?
You can't hear.
Okay, they can't hear.
There's a microphone right there.
But it's not projecting. It's not projecting. So
I can't do, it won't matter.
it won't matter?
It won't matter.
Okay.
What is it then?
It's the speaker system in the ceiling, the way it's set up. I can't change that.
I'll stand here if that makes Jeff feel more comfortable.
Maybe speak a
Bring the
little
mic
more
up a little.
loudly.
Okay.
So it's anything more other, I'm sure most of the other information.
I'll be here every night
is going to go through from the architect. You want to have the architect present?
No, I do want to submit a list of changes.
That's much better?
Oh. I do want to submit a list of changes just so that the board can see the attempts that we've made to respond to the concerns of both the board and the applicant. And there are quite a few. So this is an iterative process. We think we've been more than engaged in that, and we hope you'll agree. So I'll have Natasha Jarrett come up, speak about the architecture. I'll have Richard Hayes talk about the historic antecedents, and then Ed Hollander will talk about this landscape design.
You could face them that way.
Which way? This way?
Yes, I think
Okay.
that's the better.
Maybe I'll do this.
Yes.
Like that.
Yep.
So I think...
Your name for the record?
What? Natasha Jarek. Again, we took your notes from the last session you guys had, and we tried to look at the site with those comments in mind.
Can you hear?
Yes.
We took your suggestion, having, that's okay, having the driveway now cut through the property, kind of through a park landscape. Then you drive into this carriage house drive-through, as you can see on that elevation, with 2 windows flanking it, which will be centered on the entry door. So you would pass this carriage house, get into the courtyard, and then the front facade or the main building would be in line. So really, we tried to design the main building as something that was there, that was more innate to the property. And then the west side elevation kind of cascades down and ties back into the carriage house and becomes more of kind of a sense of an additions that were made to it. We try to approach this stylistically from a more arts and crafts house versus the symmetrical Georgian revival we had before. So we try to vary and make things a little bit less symmetrical. We try to vary materials. We introduced timber and oyster stucco, kept the shingles in general. The roofs are still hipped roofs, but they're formed now with gable end dormers and flat roof dormers. I think programmatically facing the east, that whole facade is really bedrooms, so it's very private. It's less exposed. We kept the south open. I mean, it's the view of the ocean and the main part of this. The west, I know there was issues with the west being too kind of programmatic and structured. I think we're now breaking away from that, and even, again, the profile dramatically varies as it goes down. So the volume really cascades down to a lower elevation. We did manage to reduce the area of...
This is this elevation.
Right. We kept 2 bays in this house, something that we wanted to keep, but one is at the front entry where it defines just the stair hall, so it's very, it's kind of a public zone. And the other one we kept on the west facade, which grabs the family room upstairs. So we tried to also sweep the roofs down and keep them lower. We used to have 2 full floors and then the roof. We're now sweeping the roofs down to the first floor, having a colonnade then running through. I'm going to take this. Oh, it's this one. So now we have a colonnade wrapping around the building courtyard. This is another stair tower, which kind of defines the courtyard where you drive in versus the entry to the house in more garden-like setting. So I think really we try to take, move the pool to the south side of the property and the pool house, and we try to redesign the pool house to be more in line stylistically with the main house and the guest house. So now it's kind of two pavilions that are bridged together with a pergola, versus what we had was a more modern representation of a stone glass pool house.
If I neglected to say something in terms of being responsive to the neighbors' concerns. You'll also note that you see this sun deck, which obviously this board in the past has said, obviously someone's entitled on a oceanfront house to this sort of amenity.
I can't hear you again.
Obviously someone is entitled on an oceanfront house to this sort of outside amenity. I think you, on the Grossman house down at the end of, at 450 Gin, that finding was made. But we've also tried to make it so that a substantial portion of the house blocks the view from the deck into the existing pool on the Manger guest house.
Up the wall so you can't have
Yeah, exactly. So again, trying to learn from all the directions that this board sends applicants and apply them.
Would you like to?
Richard? Anything further?
Not for me. I think Richard's going to take over from me.
Hi, I'm Richard Hayes. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. Tim revised his design for the new house on Gin Lane in order to acknowledge the discussions that have taken place at these hearings over the past several months. In particular, the suggestions of historian Mr. Studentroth on the earlier design proved helpful as we responded to the many comments, requests, and critiques in these meetings. As Mr. Studentroth observed, the narrow and irregular flag lot presents a challenge for the design of a new house, and he suggested that a house in the style of the arts and crafts movement might be appropriate to this irregular site. Characterized by asymmetrical massing, informal planning, and rustic materials, arts and crafts houses were built with close attention to their settings. In revising his design, Tim explored the relevance of this style to our particular site and program. Consequently, instead of a symmetrical house entered from a formal courtyard, the house is now an asymmetrical composition marked by varying roof profiles and contrasting volumes, approached through a winding drive that proceeds through a carriage house, an arrival sequence that reveals the main house only gradually. Once inside the entry court, the principal facade of the house comes into view as a commanding gable with a sweeping roof that descends from the roof's uppermost ridgeline directly to the first story, highlighting a projecting window bay and sheltering the main entrance inside an arched opening. In designing this facade, Tim looked to one of the most important houses of English architect Edwin Lutyens in the arts and crafts mode, Folly Farm.
This is the guest house?
No, this is the main house. This is once you come through and you're looking at the main facade here. And Tim was looking at Folly Farm by Lutyens. In the wing built in 1912, Lutyens fused a sweeping asymmetrical roof with vertical window bays, bold arches, and an exterior arcade in a powerful composition based on vernacular buildings. Tim also researched other houses by Lutyens, including Overstrand Hall in Norfolk. That's here. Marked by asymmetrical roof lines, accentuated gable ends, projecting window bays, and arched openings on the ground floor, Overstrand Hall influenced Tim's design of the entry court elevations. the right of the entrance facade, our house extends in an L-shaped plan with contrasting volumes that are intended to feel like later additions to the original volume. Projecting bays, mullioned windows, and low-slung roofs now characterize all of the house's facades, in addition to moments of symmetry within overall asymmetric compositions. The palette of materials features cedar shingles, heavy timbers, and stucco, details that were the hallmark of many American houses influenced by the arts and crafts movement, such as the Watts Sherman House in Newport, designed by H.H. Richardson in 1874. And as Natasha mentioned, Tim is looking into using oyster shell at the stucco. In addition to these British and New England examples, we also studied local precedents, such as Woldon Manor, which has an L-shaped plan. Besides, we looked at Coxwold in East Hampton, designed by architect Harry Lindbergh in 1912, which was the inspiration for the guest house on the north parcel of our site. Like Coxwold, our guest house has an H-shaped plan with a sheltering hipped roof that slopes from the top story down to the lower floor. Another local precedent, the carriage house on the Barnes estate, became the basis for our own carriage house.
This is the guest house.
So as I was saying, like Coxwold, our guest house has an H-shaped plan with a sheltering hipped roof that slopes from the top story to the lower floor, interrupted only by low-height, horizontal bands of dormer windows. These dormers have simple flat tops in order to emphasize the unobtrusive and recumbent profile of this secondary structure. So besides the Barnes estate, for our carriage house, Tim looked to another house by Edwin Lutyens, the entrance house at the Salutation Manor House in Sandwich, Kent, designed in 1911 by Lutyens. And Tim sought to fuse these two precedents. So in conclusion, Tim looked afresh at these historical precedents as a way to relate our design to the specific site and to the traditions that have shaped many houses on Long Island's East End over the years. We think that our revised design meets the needs of our client and acknowledges the recommendations of the Architectural Review Board. Thank you so much.
Edmund Hollander, landscape architect. First, thank you for accommodating me. I've got a special needs daughter in New York who's waiting for me to get home, and my dog is in the car here, so it's two things I wanted to concerned about. But thank you for doing this. I appreciate the accommodation.
Just say your dog is waiting in the car?
Yeah, in the shade.
It's cool.
Cool, in the shade.
It's cool.
With water and food in the back seat. I can't go home if anything happens to the dog.
Okay.
That's right. Right, so. I don't want to take up too much time because I'm not sure that the landscape was a major issue, but I just wanted to restate from previous, we've probably done 20 or 30 houses in the historic district here. We're incredibly respectful and appreciative of the landscapes that exist in these historic properties in the village of Southampton. There are some lovely mature trees along Gin Lane that we're going to preserve and utilize. We've tried to reestablish some of the hedging around the property, as one would typically find in discussions with both Mr. Ayers and the August, kind of cooperating on how we've installed some hedges along the west side of the property already. And the landscape is generally defined to be informal, park-like, Hamptons, hydrangeas, boxwoods, plane trees, linden trees, something that one would have expected to find on this property if we were doing a very discreet restoration and we had tried to save all the trees. There's obviously environmental implications. Being this close to the ocean is what will grow here, but having done any number of houses up and down Gin Lane and Meadow Lane, I think we've got a pretty good idea of that. We would do traditional gravel driveways, brick or bluestone kind of terraces. The swimming pool is tried to be located in the discreetest area as we can on the ocean side. The pool house located in a way to help provide some additional screening between the Manger house and the property here. And I think that the word I'd like to use for this is just respectful, trying to be respectful of the historic district and the landscape and the environment that we're working in here. Thank you.
That concludes your presentation. I'm sure there's public comment, so we ask that any public comment, please come forward.
Please go rescue the dog.
Yes.
Can I look? I'll check on Freddie and come right back.
Check on Freddie.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. My name is Jeff Bragman, and I represent the neighbors in opposition. And I do want to say that we acknowledge that we're making some progress. So, I also would like to respectfully request that we get a little more time. We just received this plan 5:30 on Thursday. There's some new material that John has submitted about his changes. We have a fairly big group of people that we have to consult with and get all their opinions and sort of figure out what our evaluation is. So I would prefer not to partially present or name a couple of details that we think are still troublesome. I'd rather come back to you and do it in another evening, given the short time frame that we have tonight, if that's acceptable to the board.
Thank you. See if there's any other comments. Any other public comment? Are you representing the entire room?
Well, no, I'm not, but I...
Some bill.
but if you say no, I'm going to start talking.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Can I I have no objection to that whatsoever. I just, if you could get me the stuff a little bit in advance of the meeting, even if it's a couple of days, that would be helpful.
Well,
you can. And I just make it as a request, that's all.
Board members, do you think there's any comments we would like to make now, the presentation?
No, I actually agree with Jeff because
a lot of information was just given out.
And I do see some good improvements. Yeah. I would like to see renderings, though. I would like to see 3D renderings because elevations are wonderful, but I think everyone needs to see what these houses are going to look like.
We'll get it done.
Thank you. Christine, anyone? Jeff, any comments?
Yeah, to that extent, but maybe we'll do it in step. But this is essentially a new design, a new plan. And whereas we had requested, and your client was kind enough to provide streetscapes, this has a different look, and I would also request the same thing that was done before.
Take a look at it.
I didn't get a chance to look at them. Sorry, it was my birthday Friday, and I don't.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I love that.
You're only 29 a couple times, so.
It's too late.
But I didn't have the opportunity to look at it over the weekend. I do apologize for that. So with that said, it seems there's no opposition for it being adjourned. And you agree to do so?
Yeah, I just want you to know, there's no attempt to get this stuff in here last minute. It takes a long time to do this stuff. And I think Mr. Brady is probably more so than anybody can testify to that.
So motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn until our next meeting.
I make a motion that we approve our applicants, both of them together.
Yes.
SH24 LLC and SH28 LLC to be adjourned to our next meeting.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
See you then.
Thank you. That concludes, well, I'm sorry, is there a second call on the open application?
Can we know the date of the next meeting?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. I don't have
24th. I put my phone away.
24th.
24th.
Okay. Let's give a second while the room shuffles. Is everyone staying or leaving? Or? All right. The second call, so you...
Can we get a little more time than that?
No, please. No, I would object to that.
I would ask that you look over if you want to come back at the next meeting and let John.
I'm not saying anything, I'm just getting up.
If you want to come back at the next meeting and for whatever purpose present why you require more time, we'll hear it then. For right now, it's been adjourned until the next meeting. Is that fair? And if there's reason because of, and you present that and it's reasonable, we'll make that motion then. Is that fair?
I think you want to say one way or another. That's too ambiguous, Curtis.
Okay.
Either yes or no.
I would object to this. We've worked really hard. There's no reason why the opponents can't turn their comments around in 2 weeks.
Board members, what do you feel? Well, I got to recall the application.
This application
we would have to recall the application.
November.
You do realize the information now is not a part of this record right now, so let's reopen the application so it can be part
I
of
thought
the
it had
record.
been closed and we were going out, and you had a request made after the close.
Council, should we reopen the application
maybe you should
for
have
discussion? Does the board feel that it needs to discuss more time?
You know what?
No.
We're going to need renderings from the street that the board asked for.
I thought
We're not on record right now. That's why I asked if we're going to continue to have this discussion or any open discussion. Let's reopen the application. You do realize that there was information that was asked of the applicant, so that additional information as well may render us to, or make a decision for it. I don't know what that looks like now. That's the reason why I said have that time, and then if it's still time needed to present, but council says that's a little too ambiguous. If the board feels, because more information has been being handed in, and there are other people and a group of people who are reviewing this application thoroughly, and so that we have a complete record and fairness, should we extend it 2 meetings rather than 1? Right now, it's not on record, so to have that conversation, we'd have to reopen the application.
I move that we reopen the application.
I think 2 weeks is plenty of time.
I do too.
I'd like to see the process moving, and let's go on a 2-week basis. If somehow we come to loggerheads in 2 weeks, there's another 2 weeks, but at least let's keep the process moving.
That's fair.
I just have one question. When can we expect to get the renderings? Because that's something the board wants. We should.
Get them to you as quickly as we can. I asked for a commitment from him to give me information. He demurred. I'll get them to you as quickly as we can. It's to my benefit to get them to you as quickly as we can.
Can offices contact one another to make things moving in?
We've had a little trouble getting documents from Mr.
BS.
Bennett.
All right.
The day I filed with this office, I filed with Mr. Bragg. So that's a misrepresentation.
Okay, we're going left too fast. We have 2 weeks right now.
I got these documents Thursday at 5:30.
Whenever we receive the document,
if we're going to have to comment on renderings, I'd like to know when we're going to get them. I don't think that's unreasonable.
Yes, but right now it's not on record. When the board's asked that it not be requesting, did not motion to request that this application be reopened. So right now we don't have that information from the applicant. This application at this point is closed.
Doesn't it make sense to get them
Jeff, the
first?
application is closed.
It's closed.
Let's stop the discussion and move on with the meeting.
Bye. Thank you. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Recall of Yanis Zuma's 10 Captain's Neck Lane.
Good evening, members of the board.
Just give a second as the room shifts.
Stevenson motioned for a 2-minute break, second, and the 3 of us voted. Motion to reopen the meeting of the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation, July 10th, 2017.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Welcome back. Recall.
What are we on here?
Board, I had 2 applications that were second called, and I appreciate the kindness of second call. 328 Gin Lane was one of them, and 10 Captain's Neck.
We've already called 10 Captain's Neck, so that's what we're hearing now.
Okay, very good.
See?
So, Brian DeCessa, the Adam Miller Group, 2462 Main Street, Suite 7, Bridgehampton, New York, for the applicant, Mr. Zumas. Briefly, the board at the last meeting, we discussed changing the chimney composite as well as the finish of the foundation, because there's we'll have cedar shake down to a certain level, and then there's always an area between the grade and cedar shake. These are the bricks that we're proposing to construct the masonry chimney with.
Red brick.
Red brick. I didn't want to put them in your file, so I figured I'd bring them to be a little easier.
I appreciate that. So the chimney and your foundation is going to be the same material.
Same material, and just let it weather naturally on that.
We have you presented new drawings to show that
I presented some new landscape plans, elevations that I wanted to discuss with the board this evening. Yes.
I'm saying so that the renderings we had, did you make the changes to show and demonstrate that they are brick now and not in the
those are being revised on the plans. The notes on the plans are being revised.
And then there was also the issue of the driveway.
Right.
We're going to go there, but he presented brick, and I don't have a...
That's getting printed up, yes. I will submit
so
that.
we don't have it yet.
Correct. You do not have it yet.
All right.
And then we presented some new landscape elevations that were presented to the board. So currently the proposed house has a garage that faces Hill Street. I presented a couple things first. We shifted the driveway, and that is also being printed, but you have this copy, to the north, which is closer to the intersection, closer to the corner of Hill and Captain's Neck, because right now we enter further down on Captain's Neck, and there was a longer drive, so we eliminated, and the green remedial drawing is to show the amount of driveway that had been eliminated from the previous plan. We're removing...
The driveway is on Hill or Captain's?
So the driveway is on Captain's.
Yep.
And if I could just point to it.
Say which place we're going to?
To the south of where the black line new proposed driveway.
This is all the new stuff.
Okay, the heavy dashed line to the new driveway.
Where the new driveway is, and just immediately to the right of that is where the current curb cut is and driveway.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you're cutting away all the driveway that's in green.
That's in green, correct. That's illustrated to
Have
show
the
this.
curb cut coming on to Captain's Neck.
Still on Captain's Neck, we just shifted it further north.
Okay.
That the board had discussed last time. We removed...
Point to it right on the table.
Oh.
Yeah, that shows up on the screen.
Sorry. It's been a long day. So this area here, there was also a proposed parking area on the last plan. We had removed that as well, and that's grass. The property is entirely surrounded by green giants, and that was pursuant to an agreement with the neighbor to the east. We agreed to provide screening. The additional submission is a elevation curbside demonstration of from Hill Street looking south at the property.
So is the garage now opens onto Hill Street? This doesn't have the street on that?
The garage opens, the doors face Hill Street, correct.
Okay, well, I'm not in favor of that.
We provided some aerials to show the current existing vegetation, as well as 5 houses in the area on Hill that have similarly facing garages that you can see from Hill Street. We actually, in our landscape proposal, you would not be able to see the garage doors while driving on Hill Street. They're fully screened, both based on existing vegetation and on the proposed additional planted vegetation.
But the garage that exists now
It's on
is on
Captain's Neck.
Captain's.
The garage currently exists faces Captain's,
Split
yes.
level house with on
Correct.
the right-hand side. There's
Yes.
So you're taking a garage that faces on Captain's and you're facing it on Hill Street, but you're screening it from Hill Street.
That's what we're proposing, yes. You wouldn't see it at all from Hill Street. So now you see it from Captain's, you wouldn't see it at all from Hill Street.
So you wouldn't see it from the front of the house?
You wouldn't see it from the front of the house, and you wouldn't see it driving by the house. It would be, there's existing mature landscaping. This is an aerial looking north. This is a street view facing south toward the property.
How far does the garage, how far is the step back from Hill Street?
It is, from the property line, it's 41.3 feet.
41.3 feet.
From the property line, and then there's additional land and screening that exists that's before the paved road.
So you're saying from the hedge?
From the hedge, there's 41 feet, and then in front of that, there's, I can get a measurement on that, but there's ample, I'll call it a shoulder, but it's unpaved, it's grass, before you hit the pavement of Hill Street.
That section of Hill Street is pretty level. I know some sections are a little elevated, but that section is pretty level.
Yes.
So, there were arguments before where homes were being, well, because of the elevation of the property, it was increased, and therefore you would see more of the impact. You're saying now it's level. You're proposing or this existing hedge there that's going to cover and
new proposed hedge of 12 feet. You'll see here with some planting. You won't see anything of the doors, garage doors, that is from Hill Street.
And, excuse me.
Yes.
Just before that, you said you had examples of garages on Hill Street?
I do. I handed that in the submission. So 624 Hill Street, the garage doors face Hill Street. 669, one door. This is...
But your number isn't, we're close to 600 Hill Street, is it?
No, these were just on Hill Street. So this is...
to the village line.
To the village lot line, yeah.
Yes, I hear you. So
519 Hill Street,
you know, the
722
Hill Street is the sort of entrance to the village, so having the...
Correct, and that's why we paid special attention to make sure
Right,
it would be fully screened from
I
Hill.
personally don't
I
I'm
think
not
it's the best
particularly
alternative.
happy about having garage doors on Hill Street. I said that before, so now I don't know.
Well, I think to some extent, for me, and it is a compromise, and I heard what you were saying, Brian, that it might be the compromise. It's either facing Captain's Neck or it's facing...
I'd much rather see it screened off of Hill Street than at the front of the house.
I think it also depends on, for me, what the garage doors look like, the material. I mean, there are garage doors that look like French windows, or French doors, excuse me. And I think that would have a big play. If we're talking aluminum garage doors, the answer would be a...
Yeah, these are carriage house.
These are carriage house style doors with glass in the top.
I'll say this, that, with the configuration as it proposed right now, it's kind of difficult. The other alternative could have been a curb cut from Hill Street, which would have been absolutely no.
Right.
So in order for us to get a garage.
I agree.
So we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here. And I think that the best way is to make a designed garage door that's not so urban.
Yes, that's not the intent, as in shown in
Taking away
as in
the
renderings.
driveway, you added a lot more green space.
Yes.
So.
Any other questions, board members?
No.
It's not finished yet. He's going to have to come back with. You're going to have to come
I'm
back.
going to submit those.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But he's heading in the right direction. Is there anything further to add to what he's discussed this evening? Any questions, comments, concerns?
Nope.
Good. Thank you for the compromise. Thanks for coming back in, representing us.
Thank you. I appreciate
Sure
the
you're
courtesy of a second
holding out, finishing the drafts until you get a little.
As soon as we have them.
Do you need this for your...
No, I have those. I just, before we went
Is there any
forward.
public comment on the application? Understanding that you had to prepare yourself, you are asking this board to allow you to adjourn, correct?
To the next meeting of July 24th, please.
Excellent. Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn until our next meeting.
Make a motion that we approve the applicant's request to adjourn to our next meeting.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And you're also recalling,
That's been approved.
That was close to written decision, but
No,
There were some issues.
328
so,
Jen.
so you're requesting that we reopen the application because you want to make modifications.
Correct, yes.
To the
window.
original proposed approval.
Yes.
Okay, so right now this application is closed for written decision. The applicant's asking that we motion to reopen the application so that he can present an amendment to his former application and presentation. So I need a motion to reopen the application, please.
I make a motion that we approve, which application?
reopen.
328.
Reopen the application
For 328
at 328
Gin Lane.
Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you.
Next time.
No, he reopened it, so we're listening to him now.
Oh, we're listening.
Yes,
Oh, we're listening
it's
to you,
okay.
but where are the plans?
He's presenting
Oh,
what
okay.
his
The
amendment.
plans had been submitted. It should be in the file, the revised plans. So the proposal is on the southern elevation. We were here last, I stepped in for the architect, but the second-story windows, there's two existing second-story windows on the southern side facing the ocean that we had asked for replacement in like kind from Anderson vinyl windows to wood windows. And the proposal was further revised from when I was last here, that the applicant is seeking to add two of the same size windows to the southern elevation next to the existing two windows, so you would have four of the same size windows facing the ocean.
That changes things.
Okay.
It's not so simple.
So we're looking at, just so I understand and we're looking at the correct file, we're looking at a file that was received by the village on July 7th, correct?
That is correct.
All right, so these are now the new changes, and you'll be able to show us through.
You have existing and proposed elevations there, yes.
Oh, sorry. I'm get to the shortest person. We're all short, I guess, over here.
You have the, so this is the existing.
Oh, he needs one.
No, oh, sorry. I can follow right
You keep that one.
Okay.
I'll give him this one.
Apologize.
It's okay.
That's all right.
This is the north.
This is the bottom form here is the existing southern elevation.
Okay.
The two windows being discussed are here and here on the second floor, master bedroom.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
The What I had presented last time to the board was to replace those windows the same. What the applicants now seek to do is to change that to that window set of several windows.
And that's where the...
Southern elevation. So it faces the ocean, not the street.
Trying to get more glass.
It's more glass because it's, when the house obviously was built, it's the master bedroom, so it'll look out at the water.
Is that where that pottery is embedded, Zach?
Yes.
There is, yes.
Okay.
Well, it's inserting windows between those. 3 windows.
Correct. There are
So
some
now there'd be a bank
photos
of 5 in a row.
of the existing that was handed in. This is the existing condition. Some of these have been, according to the builder architect, have been replaced at some point. They're not all, they've been replaced with, to try to match. If you look at them, you can tell which ones have been done and which ones haven't, or were done at a later date or later time. So in the middle here, this section is what the proposal is on the windows. That's the revised proposal from last time that I was here.
Zach, does the addition of those 2 windows add or subtract any of the integrity of the historic dimensions?
Yeah, really, it's actually 3 windows, so you're inserting becomes a bank of 5.
Yes.
So
all the same sizes as existing, but new windows, correct?
You know, we've seen an occasional insertion of a window here and there, but this really transforms that upper wall into a
picture window.
Yes.
Which is a significant difference. It basically makes the whole second story a large picture window. I think that's a big transformation.
Yeah.
I think even inserting 1 in the middle might be, I don't want to suggest the solution.
I'm hoping to.
But I'm saying that would be less aggressive than transforming that into a long bank of windows.
I tell you,
I don't think it's
if the chair asks me.
happy.
Can I comment? Okay. When you show that picture, because of the imagery, if there wasn't a contemporarily dressed woman in front of it, it looks like a sepia photograph of a historic building, and it's picture perfect.
That was July 6th.
You add 1 window, to Zach's point. That's bad enough. You add a block of windows, it changes the entire look. It's not going to, I would not vote for the change on that at all. You've done such a great job.
I'm trying. I'm not an architect, so I will report back to the architect.
Again, preserving, just the fact that they were going to preserve it, we were so happy, and now...
No, and they are, and that's the intent, is just to try to get a little more water
That's
there.
a pretty...
You did a good
existing
job.
windows are the size of the TV.
That's sort of an important area of that historic house, I would say. And messing with it is probably not a good idea, in my book.
Mine, comments?
I would be okay with 1 window.
A centered
for me,
one.
centered, and I think it could be done to make it look like it's always been that way.
Very good.
Christine?
Yes, I agree with Brian.
I will ask that the board adjourn this to the next meeting, and I will speak.
Well, you know you were 2 for 2. That's still a
Yes.
Yeah, right. So,
don't get ahead of yourself.
No, just 2-2's not good, so I'm going to go back and rework the plan. So.
I think ultimately the entire board, as well as our historic consultant, feels the same in terms of the, as proposed, the integrity of what you're proposing is not something that's in keeping. You know something? I'm leaning towards leaving it as it is, and I'll tell you why. We like to bring interpretations of new designs into historic homes, but I think you have an application, you have a current platform that is perfect as it is. I get why you're doing it. It's kind of sort of the challenge when you buy a historic home and try to make it more modern. Sometimes it just doesn't work. So I'm leaning more towards, and just let you know, leaving as it is. Okay. So maybe that's a discussion you need to have with your client.
Absolutely, I will.
And then you come back to the board and see if you want to continue to move forward.
The other part was also just to switch out, and I'll come back and talk to them, but the additional windows on the front, which are vinyl, to the same size that are there. So we can discuss that at the next time. Let me address the more significant change first.
Okay. So you do know the application is now open?
Yes.
It's not closed?
Correct. I know it's not closed, and we're not having a...
So you're asking for an adjournment if you're...
To the July 24th.
Motion to approve. Is there any public comment? Give those back. Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn until next meeting.
Make a motion that we approve our applicant's request to adjourn to the next meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good, thank you. Have a good evening. I appreciate the courtesy of second call. Thanks.
Concludes our historic applications for this evening. First application, non-historic.
First application is 100 Halsey Lane, LLC.
Good evening. Michael Barringer, architect for the applicant. I have a couple of things to hand up. Some copies of the rendering.
Are there any changes to the copies you're sending here, or are they the same that we have in file? There have been modifications?
Yes, I was asked to revise the window mullion proportions, and what we've basically done is changed the window mullions. And I have some new small sets if anyone would like a copy of those. The only thing that was changed on the small sets are the elevations on sheets 5 and 6. So basically, what I can show you on this, if it's up, there was a concern about the horizontal window mullions on some of the elements of the house, so we changed everything so that they're all vertical proportion on the mullions. And essentially, that's the only change that we have. There were some questions about on the siding of the house, and this main portion of the house is approximately 70% of the volume, and that is all horizontal beveled cedar. The two smaller wings on the side are shingled, and then the garage appendage is board and batten. But what I'd like to emphasize is that the siding is white. It's all cedar material, but it's all white. And I think if you look at the rendering, you would have to be pretty close to the house to see the different textures and the different types of siding. So
I think it wasn't just the siding. There were some questions about the windows, especially front, if I'm not mistaken.
So, this has been changed.
Yeah, I see that.
Right, yeah.
I thought the main concern was the proportions of the mullions on the windows. And we had some horizontal bands, and everything's been changed to vertical. So there's more cohesion to the mullions on the windows.
How many different sizes of windows am I looking at here? Like, this is the same as this. Is this the same? Are these the same?
Yes.
How about the ones now farther to the right of the page? Is the spacing on those windows, this is on the main facade? Here? Is that the same?
Yes, those are the same windows.
And then when we get here, things change.
That's an elevator right there. That's correct, yes.
So it becomes square, not rectangular? The mullions, or is it rectangular?
They're more vertical than they are. They're not square.
It's because it appears that way on the, because you can't see really. And how about over here on the garage? That looks particularly square to me. Is that correct?
Well, those are
here.
Those are panels that have to, they are operable, so they have to have 4 panels for the garage to be able to open. They match the garage doors that are on the side elevation. That's fixed glass in the front. The garage is intended to be more of a showplace for some nice cars.
Oh, that's right. So, just one more thing.
Yeah.
The elevator windows and these windows are the same size or not?
No, the elevator panes are slightly larger.
Brian, comments?
I think it's a huge improvement, just changing the configuration of the mullions.
Great. Thank you.
And I think if you look at it as, the main house is balanced with the center modern piece, and then the elevator's the transition, and then you go into the garage component, and so that sort of makes sense why the board and batten works there, and it's all white. And I think just changing the windows really helped.
I think so, I agree.
Christine?
Yeah, changing the windows up, the white is good. I think it looks much better.
Jeff?
Same with Brian and Christine.
My only challenge would have been that the amount of windows, the type of light and illumination you have for your neighbors. You are a flag lot, so...
It's a 300-foot.
And that's what saves you from had any of those concerns.
Okay.
So anything further from the board?
No.
Anything from the public? Any comments? All right. Motion to approve.
Make the motion that we approve the application at 51 Pheasant Lane of 100 Horsey Lane, LLC.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to say it was a little difficult, but I do respect the process that you have here, so.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We normally typically have a conclusion somewhere over the rainbow. Next application, please.
Next application, Michael Yansky and Joseph Beckwar, 209 Elm Street.
Is the applicant present?
I think this is the second meeting
No.
we've had, or third, where they've not been present.
Yeah, actually, may I ask the council a question? Yeah, this was first came before us on May 22nd, no-show on the 12th, request for an adjournment on the 26th to today, and now we're getting a no-show. This has to do with the demolition of a 100-plus-year-old house, and I think it's...
Have you done a report on this? Yes. You have.
And I think it requires reposting, and I don't know the procedure on that, so I would just soon strike it from
Yeah, I would
the
go even
agenda.
further with that and just say that it should be withdrawn. We've had no follow-up, we've had no response. A letter went out, I believe, correct?
I don't think we sent a letter, but go check it. Well, these are very diligent people. The fact that they're not here tonight, to me, sort of indicates that this is sort of an abandonment, no request for adjournment. So I would say that you're within your discretion to strike it from the agenda without prejudice.
It would need to be reposted and remailed
Strike it from
anyway,
the
so...
agenda. It'll be reposted and renoticed.
Okay. Therefore, the board, any public comment on that before we move further? All right, motion would be motion to remove the application from...
Strike the matter from the agenda without prejudice.
Without prejudice.
Is that what you want? I make a motion that we remove the
No, we
application.
strike, I'm sorry.
Motion to strike the application from the agenda without
For
prejudice.
Michael Junkie and Joseph Beckler at 209 Elm Street.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Next application is Peter...
Oh, no.
Peter, on Carriage Lane.
Iwanaki. Spell, but that's another story. Yeah, it doesn't have all those I's.
Oh, that's too bad. Sorry. We didn't do it.
No, I'm sure.
Can you just pronounce your name?
Peter Iwanaki.
What?
So
that makes sense.
CJIJI is not right?
It's IWANYCKYJ. Should be a Y instead of I, and...
It actually makes more sense than English.
Ivanitsky in Ukrainian. So somewhere along the line it got translated.
Proceed.
Okay, how we left off last time, the last meeting, we were going to do stone here on the side, but we were going to go with a brick, which was suggested.
Okay.
So on 3 sides we have here, and this is the preferred brick that he wants to use. We have 2 options here, though.
This is the
would be-
material that we have a sample of, the material but not the color, unfortunately. They just gave me a...
Okay, so you either the
Either
brownish brick.
This is
You're coming in
preferred.
with the ARB.
Right, we want to give an option.
Right.
This is preferred, is what we'd like. If you like.
What are you proposing?
This brick
Okay,
right here.
stand behind your presentation.
We wanted to give an option, though, okay. So this is, we got the drawings here, I got another set for you.
Also had to do with the gables, removing the other gable, I believe that was the other question, right? Right.
Those are 2 sets.
It's only 1 set.
Did you give us revised sets of what you're proposing?
No, I did not.
Okay, that's, we need 2 sets.
Okay.
Stamped in as part of the full record.
Okay.
Is
that a set right there?
If you can take this if you'd like. Yeah.
It's stamped, correct? Remove that from your board.
I can do that, okay. Sure.
Carefully.
Very carefully.
We'll be all right.
I mean, I'll work on that while you.
Okay.
Is there anything further?
That was the only thing that came up at the last meeting, was just a stone on the fireplace.
Okay. Board members, Brian, the stone, we'll start with that.
Yes. The brick is a much better option. I would prefer red brick.
Okay.
Okay.
Christine?
I would prefer red brick, too.
I'm going there, too.
There you go.
There you go.
That's why I brought the options.
It's a flush.
We don't, it's kind of, just to let you know, in case you present before the board.
Okay.
Stand behind your application.
Gotcha.
So whatever your application is.
Well-
And if there's a change, it's obviously not against you to have it available, but to come here and say, well, choose A or B, it's kind of a distortion of what we tried to do.
I understand.
We're not trying to design your home. You need to stand behind your application and allow us to make a decision.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
In this case.
Seems to be no issue with the brick. Moving further, I think the application, I appreciate the work you did.
Okay.
Appreciate the modifications that you didn't take to heart so much and came back and you made the necessary changes. So congratulations, good luck with it.
Thank you.
If he can get that off the board, we'll be okay.
He's got it.
While he's doing that, is there
I
any
could work on this side if you want.
It's okay. Is there any public comment? Okay, there's no issue with the board.
If you have an X-Acto knife in my truck, I can just...
There
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll get there.
Yep.
We need another set of plans.
He's getting
He's
that.
got it.
Therefore, motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the application of Peter Wanigiki.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll continue to work on this.
Okay. I can be happy to run out and back in and take it.
We got it. Bag it around the edges.
Next application, please.
Next application is 99 Edwards Lane, LLC.
Good evening. My name is Yu Liu. I'm the architect for this project.
Zach, just leave it there. We'll take care of it later.
You want me to take care of it?
Do you need the board?
I'll take care of it. Okay.
Sorry.
Good evening. My name is Yu Liu. I'm the architect for 99 Edwards Lane, LLC. I just submitted the smaller copies. They're the exactly same as what is submitted. Here's the site plan, driveway, garage here, and the main house here, swimming pool here. The lot coverage is 415 under the allowed, and the GFA is 194 square foot under allowed. So we didn't try to max out everything, trying to be moderate with the size. The first floor is pretty obvious, simple layout. And second floor has 3 bedrooms. And the look of it is just a very simple hip roof. And the cedar roof, it's going to have cedar roof and the main roof, and a little bit of silver metal roof for the porch. Because the pitch is a little bit shallower, so metal roof will work a little bit better.
I'm sorry, you said silver metal?
Silver-colored metal roof.
It looks like a standard.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's aluminum.
Yeah, just a little bit. And
Where's your chimney? You have no chimney?
No chimney.
Oh.
No chimney. And
No fireplace?
I'm sorry?
No chimney?
No chimney. We have a gas fireplace, so it's direct vent out.
They turn the switch on, you know.
Yeah, this
Got a remote.
little remote.
Okay.
Yeah, and the siding is white cedar, and the windows and doors going to be Marvin ultimate aluminum clad in black. What else? The trim of the house is white. I think that's about it. And The surround is going to be the Marvin's surround, just a flat casing. I didn't make extra copies for the flat casing, but I thought it's pretty obvious.
I'm going to just start with the east elevation. If you can go to A6 for a second.
A6.
Now, that's the garage, correct?
Yeah,
All right.
this is the garage side.
All right. There's a lot of dimension coming out. The house is step back a little further. Is there a reason why that's such a because I'm looking at it from the rear elevation too. If you go to A6, it's just, mind you can't see it from the front. Just asking from just a detail why there's such a difference in terms of
because this part is a setback.
Setback.
Yeah, and then it's I need to do 8 foot here.
Understood. Gotcha. Well, Jeff, comments?
No, I think it's okay. It's good. Okay.
Susan?
I'd really like to see a streetscape on this, because this is Edwards Lane. Edwards Lane's got a mix of capes and ranches, and this is maxing out the lot. And that's why the angle for the garage is there, so, you know.
Yeah, and it's just...
Okay. Well, I do have the pictures of the neighborhood. I believe it's in the application as well.
I think what Brian, and it's a point well taken.
Okay.
Because the other houses are ranches
how it's going to fit in.
Because it's so superimpose that house with the house.
You've done this before. We've asked you to do streetscapes before. So you go 3, 4 homes to the left, 3, 4 homes to the right. You show streetscape and elevation impact. Is that what you're saying you have there?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to give it to
with
you.
your house with your house in.
Is your house superimposed?
No, this is the existing house. That's where it is.
So
here,
what we're asking for is your home to scale to show impact. We'll take a look at the photos and see if it.
Oh, okay. I'll give it to you. I have another copy. I think it's in the photo, but. Do you want 2 copies?
Sure.
You gave it to I did? No, it's not 2 copies, because one is the neighborhood, one is the existing house.
This is big at Katina. There's a lot of ranches, and this street is coming up because it's all big.
I know, and I don't want it to turn into
I think it's going to turn into Breeze Lane. Yes. The houses are going to be upgraded with something that's less stark and more...
Right. See, I did that.
I
still want to see it.
Down ones and then
thank you for the photos. They're helpful, but we still need a little bit more detail. So can you superimpose your home to scale and showing the dimensions of the other homes surrounding so we can get an impact, a visual impact of the streetscape?
Okay. Do you want it only on this side, or you want both sides?
Yep, both sides. Both sides. Be helpful.
Okay.
Is this okay?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No
Any
problem.
public comment on the application? You'll be able to. You've done this before, so you'll be able to prepare that and have it at the next meeting, correct?
Actually, I've never done it, but I'm going to do it.
Okay. That's historic.
Okay.
I never really done
And you're
it.
asking for an adjournment so you can prepare yourself for that now? Sure. Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn till the next meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant 99 Edwards Lane LLC request to adjourn to our next meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
good call.
Next application, please.
Next application is Evelyn Leonard, 107 Breeze Lane.
Evening, Tony Panza representing Evelyn Leonard. I have some additional copies.
Yeah.
The Leonards are asking for a modest addition to the house of 209 square feet. It's an addition to create a master bathroom. Currently, they have a master bathroom that is about 8 by 5, and they'd like to get a master bathroom. They're going to turn that master bathroom into a closet and a laundry room. The addition matches the exact same materials that are on the house right now, which is a gray stained shingle, white trim, cedar shake roof. The addition is to the back of the house. No issues with setbacks, no issues with coverage, and I think you'll see by the windows and the siding, it's all in keeping with the existing house, not visible from the street.
First, this house is so cute. This house is adorable. But the amount of additions you're doing, it's in keeping, it's not overscaled, but beautiful, beautiful home. Brian, comments?
I think it's great. Yeah.
Christine?
No, I think it's great.
Jeff?
Yep, it's fine.
No objections.
Nice.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the application of Evelyn Leonard at 107 Breeze Lane.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next application, please.
Next application is Roseanne Hermaniak.
This is this pool house, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't, they went to the ZBA and I think they got denied. Isn't that right? So now they're back.
Maybe they're not.
Bo, do you have any, do you have any information on that?
No information.
No information, all right. The applicant's not here, so a motion to adjourn until we get further notice.
Wasn't it last
Is this a
time,
new
too?
application?
It was last time they didn't show up either.
No, I don't remember.
I don't remember
No, I
that.
don't remember that.
So a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn, we need clarification. Can we get a letter out to the applicant?
I make a motion that we adjourn Roseanne
You don't have,
Hermaniak
wait a minute.
It wasn't on last.
on
It wasn't
John
on
Street.
last week, this is
Can we
new.
get a letter out?
Wait. I'm sorry.
If there's no affidavit of posting or mailing, you don't have jurisdiction to do anything.
Is there?
Is the affidavit of mailing in the file, please? Can you pull the file?
Good. But that was a while ago.
That's not the affidavit, that's just the list.
What's the date on that?
We have no, well, then we have no jurisdiction.
Go on to the next application.
Next application, please.
Okay, next application is CEW Realty, 166.
My name is Steve Delaney. I'm representing or owner's agent for CEW Realty in the application for an installation of a driveway gate. Affidavits and the location is the corner of Herrick and Little Plains, and this driveway is on Little Plains. They have a driveway on Herrick, and this is the driveway that approaches the garage of Little Plains. The purpose of the gate is because that's where they play basketball, and they don't want the ball rolling into the street. That's it specifically. It's a short gate, it's not automated.
Oh, it's not automated?
No, they don't use it as a, since they use the other driveway for their cars, this is really their...
They park on the street, I live nearby. Yes, okay.
Height of, could you please describe both the post height as well as the gate height?
Gate height is 4 feet. It will be a little bit elevated off the driveway because of it has to clear the cobblestone. The post height will just be a couple inches taller. If we're I think it shows 4.6 total. The gate post to be definitive from the gate will probably just be a couple inches taller.
Wood?
If you like me to specify.
The material, color?
It's a Versatech material, which is like AZEK. It's the white plastic. And the posts are ACQ, which will be wrapped with the white plastic as well. And caps made out of the same material.
What is plastic?
Yeah.
So it'll have a sheen?
It's like the AZEK.
It's AZEK.
Yeah.
Well, originally it is shiny, but you have to paint the plastic. So it's a white acrylic in...
What a lot of garage doors are now, too.
Yeah.
So it will have the feel of the look of wood?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't really tell it's not wood until you touch it. Right.
No lanterns, no lighting above on the post? None? Okay, and these are not electrical, they're manual.
Yeah, it's just a simple gate for it.
Spacing between the slats are?
Approximately 3.5.
Okay, so you get 50% transparency?
Yeah, more.
I would say
more. Yeah.
Board members, any comments? Brian?
I think it's very unassuming. I like the fact that it's only 4 feet tall, and the pillars aren't grand. I think it's just really for a function of basketball. It's not making a statement.
I have to admit, I saw them playing
I think it's
basketball
good.
over the weekend, so, okay.
Yeah, well, two things. Normally, I would not be inclined to approve the gates on little planes. There are only really 1 or 2 examples of gates, but they're usually on 2 or 4 acre lots way down towards the beach. But in this case, because there's a basketball and a blacktop driveway, that gate actually is a slight improvement because it's more like a fence, low fence, than it is a gate.
Well, the theme was
So
taken.
I just want to make the point, this doesn't set, in my mind, this doesn't set a precedent for little planes.
I agree with that.
Absolutely. Small, tiny fence.
Yep.
Purposes of just keeping, it's funny, that basketball and it's part of the record. But I really appreciate the fact that you, in most cases, we get gates that are being presented for purposes of creating an estate look. And this is for functionality purposes, so we really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any public comment? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the driveway gates for CEW Road
Second.
on Herrick Road.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next application, please.
Next application is Sowo Holdings, LLC. Also for driveway gates.
I'm Robert Fowler, representing Sowo Holdings LLC for a proposed driveway gate. The house is located on Halsey Neck Lane, which, as you all know, is a quick jaunt to the beach, and so people are constantly turning and just flying down that street. It's the second house on the left when you turn off of Hill Street. The homeowner has a 4-year-old, and there's been a few instances where people have come in and either turned around in the driveway or, the kids have been playing in the front yard. So it's a proposed driveway gate, steel frame coated with the same Aztec material as discussed before. Meets the 50% opacity. The posts are 8 feet tall. The actual gate is only 7 feet tall. No lighting on the gate. It's an automated gate. Sets 18 feet back from the road. And the design, just to note, that's at the top of the gate, there's a architectural feature above the front door that has this exact same pattern that kind of goes around there. So
nice.
Fairly simple.
Very simple. Brian, comments?
I think it's a beautiful gate. Yeah.
Board members, any questions?
No. It's great.
Any public comment on the application? Thank you for the detailed description.
Great.
Motion to approve.
Great, thank you so much.
Motion that we approve the driveway gates of Sowo Holdings on Halsey Neck Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
And our final application.
Final application, Ryan White Street, LLC.
My name is Andres Flores, and I'll be speaking for Southampton Engineering. Basically, we are doing a couple of things. We're doing some additions to the house. We are converting the existing front porch into a livable space. We are adding a couple of square feet to the existing dining room that's in the front. And we're adding an addition. We have also doing an addition on the rear. And there's a second floor deck that we want to turn into a walk-in closet.
Great. First, thank you for the site plan that shows details of what's being proposed and what's pre-existing. Gives us a little more dimension on where the additions are going to take place. How far is your flag? How far is the lot back from White Street?
It says 264 feet from.
So this is.
It's pretty far in.
Brian, comments?
No, I think it's very nicely added onto. I think it's in keeping with the existing house. There's nothing jarring about it. I think it's appropriate.
Jeff, any comments?
Yeah, I agree with Brian. In fact, I like the extension of the porch. I actually think it helps the front elevation flow a little bit better.
Susan, comments?
I have no objections. I thought it was in keeping with what was already there, but maybe smoothing things out a bit.
Christine?
Well, I think they're in the right place, and it's hastily added.
Example of how you add to an existing house and you actually show and demonstrate that the extension actually is there. You see it. You see the step backs. So very good job. It's not going to be seen from any right of way or any purview. However, in design and in keeping with overall with the integrity of the village, I have no issues or objections. Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve Ryan White Street LLC on White Street.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, we have minutes from June 26th. All board members were present?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Board members have the opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
Questions, comments, concerns, errors, or omissions? Any issues, concerns?
No.
Motion to approve the minutes from the 26th.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from June 26th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And motion to close this evening's meeting of the Architectural Board Review and Historic
I
Preservation.
make a motion that we close this meeting tonight of the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation on July 10th, 2017.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.